Alright guys, so Predator. Predator. There was a recent report that indicated Dan Trachtenberg was effectively leaving 20th Century Studios and basically had a first look deal over at Paramount, right? Now, that understandably would have had people, and myself, I hold my hands up, I said, hey, that sounds like the Predator franchise is dead for a little bit. Dead for now, anyway. At the very least, the next few years, the next three years, because I think the deal was a 3-year first look one at Paramount. Well, anyway, he's come out and said no, that's not the case, or at least he's tried to sort of mitigate, that sort of rumor being perpetuated. Now, it's not simply the first look deal at Paramount that has made people, myself included, believe that the Predator franchise is dead for a little bit. Predator Badlands didn't do very well at the box office. It did quite poor, actually. Quite poorly at the box office. Now, I don't know what 20th Century Studios, don't know what their sort of bar was for profit on this film. No one will 100% know. If you're doing it just on its budget versus what it took, I mean, it's a bomb, right? Like, it didn't do very well, box office wise. But we don't know what their second and third revenue sources are. But just from the box office, it didn't do great. So it's understandable for people to look at it and go, this looks like the franchise is going to be put on ice for a little bit. Well, anyway, he's come out and basically said, no, that's not the case. Now, I don't 100% buy what he's saying. But I can appreciate he's trying to mitigate the damage. It's damage control, basically. So we'll take a look. We'll see what he says. And we'll just kind of read this article. But basically, Paramount Pictures recently signed filmmaker Dan Trachtenberg to a 3-year first look directing and producing deal. Having helmed Prey, Predator Killer of Killers, and then Predator Badlands, there's understandably been some concern about what this means for his involvement with the franchise. Or celebration. Some people don't want him involved in the franchise anymore. And that's perfectly fair as well. So after all, we've been left with good reason to believe that Trachtenberg might have been plotting everything from the return of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dutch to an eventual Alien vs. Predator crossover. So talking to IO9, the director was asked if his deal with Paramount means he won't helm another Predator movie for Disney and 20th Century Studios. And he just said straight up, it does not mean that. Right? But doesn't mean that he is. Kind of, yet. So he says, I am simultaneously figuring out all of the next steps for the Predator franchise. Okay. Alright. I'm in this moment that I was in when Prey came out, where I was like, what do I do next? And got very excited about a Predator protagonist, and got very excited about an animated movie with multiple time periods, and then they just happened to go at the same time. And so that's where I'm at with Predator now, is, oh my god, there are so many exciting things we can do. But also, and so this is the clincher, also, now I have this deal at Paramount where I'm thrilled, and they are thrilled to make something of the original, of the original movies that I've always had in my head and heart. And of course, they also have very cool IP and all that. Timing may affect certain things, but both things are in my heart. Anything's on the table. So let's take a look at this. There's actually quite a few things in here that he is revealing. So, a few things. Nothing is greenlit at Fox yet. Right? By the sounds of it. Although, possibly, could be. They could be asking him to come up with something and pitch it. Right? We're happy to make a sequel pitch to us. That could be what's going on. He's quite literally saying, I'm trying to figure out the next steps for the Predator franchise. So it still does sound like they've given him an element of control. An element of the Kevin Feige touch. But then you have this part where he says, but I now have this deal at Paramount. And I think this is interesting because in here, his first port of call is actually talking about original movies, not IP. He does talk about their IP, but he talks about his original ideas first. Now that's fascinating. That's fascinating because a lot of people thought, right? A lot of people thought that he could be going to do Cloverfield again, right? That's what people thought. Because he did 10 Cloverfield Lane. People were like, oh, okay, well, maybe he'll go back to that. Another one that people thought he would be signing up for, or at least what Paramount would want him to do, was going to be like World War Z or something like that. So that's interesting. Well, that's very interesting. But he's talking about his original movies. Again, he does touch on IP, but he's talking mainly about original ideas. That's the thing that first popped into his head to discuss here, is original IP. I think that's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So what are we saying here with respect to the Predator franchise? I still think it's put on ice for a little bit. I still think that is on ice. I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. He certainly doesn't have any idea of it just yet, which you very plainly, you can see that from what he says here. But as for their, I guess, their sort of confidence in him, that still seemingly is there. 20th Century Studios still seems to have a level of confidence in him. I am simultaneously figuring out all the next steps for the Predator franchise, whilst also doing things with Paramount. Okay. Well, I do wonder if that's them simply asking to pitch it first. And if that is the case, whether they'll greenlight it, whether it has hit, a level of profit. It's hit that profit margin that they're happy with. I don't know. There are certain things that I liked about certain of the movies, certain movies he has made within the franchise. I don't want to see them continue the Badlands story. I don't want them to continue that tone. But maybe, if he is going to be continuing, i.e. in the Predator franchise, maybe the best thing we can hope for, as Predator fans, is he gets he wets his whistle with Paramount, with Cloverfield, and gets that horror vibe back, that horror, he really, he sinks his teeth into something horror, and he wants to continue that in Predator. And, because that's maybe 20th Century Studios love him for Predator, who knows, we'll see. But is it dead? I don't know. Doesn't seem to be 100%, but it does seem to be on ice for a little bit, at the very least. So what do you guys reckon? Leave your thoughts down below.